I think there's this kind of global 10% tariff, which is something that I'm very supportive of because I think it essentially puts a thumb on the scale for domestic production over imports. And if you could, if there's a future world and when we get back to balanced trade and so forth, then great, you wouldn't need that. But I think in the world as we see it operating, we haven't talked about the capital account at all and the role of the dollar as the reserve currency and so forth. That'll have to be a separate podcast. But
incidentally, that was in my analogy. That's the farmer putting the $100 bills in the safe. That's what I was. The rest of the world could accumulate dollar balances. Yeah, go ahead.
So, that I think essentially a counter pressure that rewards domestic production is very worthwhile. And that also gets into this, we keep punting on the part of the debate, okay, but should we care about manufacturing? Mm-hmm. And of course, if after all of this we say like, okay, but who cares? Well, then, you wouldn't, and the tariffs don't make any sense. If we do care about domestic manufacturing and the health of the industrial base, then I think that kind of global tariff can be an important piece of the puzzle. The second piece is China. And that's where, initially it was a reciprocal tariff with China. Now we've sort of escalated into this much larger trade war. I don't think tit for tat, 100% plus tariffs are the right way to approach it, but I would like to see us quite aggressively push forward with just decoupling from China, with saying there is no such thing as a free market and free trade between systems as different as our systems. I think the legislation in Congress right now, which would revoke that permanent normal trade relations that we were talking about from back in 2000 and establish a very clear schedule of increasing tariffs so that everybody understands over the next 5 years, we are going to get to tariff levels that really make it pretty unsustainable to have substantial levels of trade, would be a good thing, would foster an important transition. And then there's also a lot else you have to do there on, investment flows and so forth when it comes to China. And then the third piece is these sort of reciprocal tariffs with the rest of the world, where the administration has paused them for now and they're pursuing negotiation. And I think the negotiating approach is the right one. I do think the idea of saying, look, there's some backstop to these negotiations, the old kind of liberal world order where the US just presides over an open market, regardless of how everybody else behaves, is over and should be over.